For decades, Anthony Quinn said almost nothing about Charles Bronson. He deflected questions, changed subjects, or answered with a quiet shrug. To the public, they were simply two legendary actors who shared the same era. Men known for toughness, intensity, and faces carved by life itself. But near the end of his life, when time stripped away the need for silence, Quinn finally spoke. And when he did, it wasn't gossip or nostalgia, it was truth. Truth about survival, dignity, and the invisible bond between two men who had fought their way out of poverty and prejudice to claim a place in history. Anthony Quinn was born Manuel Antonio Rodolfo Quinn Ojeda on April 21, 1915, in Chihuahua, Mexico. His story did not begin with glamour or opportunity, but with hunger, displacement, and struggle. His father, of Irish descent, had been a revolutionary and later a cameraman. His mother was Mexican, deeply religious, and strong-willed. When the family moved to Los Angeles, the American dream greeted them with cold indifference. They lived in poor neighborhoods, scraping by day to day. Young Manuel learned early that nothing would be handed to him. As a boy, he worked wherever he could, selling newspapers, boxing for money, doing backbreaking construction work. His hands hardened, his body grew strong, but more importantly, his spirit was forged. He watched his parents struggle, watched doors close because of accents and skin color, and quietly promised himself that he would not disappear into obscurity. Those years of hardship never left him. They later became the soul of his performances, the reason his characters felt lived in, wounded, and real. A pivotal moment came not through film, but through art. Quinn had a natural talent for drawing and sculpture. This gift led him to study architecture under Frank Lloyd Wright, one of the greatest architects in history. Wright saw something rare in the young man, not just talent, but presence. He told Quinn something that would change his life forever: "You should be an actor." Coming from a man of Wright's stature, those words carried weight. Quinn listened. He entered Hollywood in the 1930s, but the industry had little imagination for men like him. He was cast as villains, natives, and background characters, roles defined by stereotype rather than humanity. Many would have accepted their place. Quinn did not. He studied relentlessly, refined his voice, his movement, his emotional control. He waited, endured, and grew. The breakthrough came in the 1950s. In Viva Zapata, 1952, Quinn played Eufemio Zapata, a volatile revolutionary torn between ideals and excess. The performance earned him an Academy Award, making him the first Mexican-born actor to win an Oscar. It wasn't just a personal victory, it was a crack in Hollywood's wall. He followed it with a second Oscar for Lust for Life, 1956, portraying painter Paul Gauguin with ferocity and aching vulnerability. By then, Quinn was no longer asking for respect, he commanded it. His most iconic role came with Zorba the Greek, 1964. Alexis Zorba was loud, joyful, broken, wise, and fiercely alive. Through Zorba, Quinn gave the world a philosophy: that life must be lived fully, even when it hurts. Audiences didn't just watch Zorba, they felt him. That dance on the beach became a symbol of defiance against despair. Over a career spanning more than 150 films, Quinn played kings, rebels, prophets, and outcasts. In Lawrence of Arabia, Barabbas, and countless others, he brought depth to men who could have been caricatures. His power came not from pretending to be strong, but from revealing weakness without shame. Off-screen, Quinn was just as complex. He painted, sculpted, wrote, and questioned everything. His art was exhibited around the world. Creativity, to him, was survival. His personal life, however, was turbulent. He married Catherine DeMille in 1937, and they built a family and an image of stability. Behind that image were infidelity, restlessness, and emotional distance. After nearly 30 years, the marriage collapsed, leaving scars on everyone involved. It was around this time, late in life, that Quinn finally spoke about Charles Bronson. He didn't speak with bitterness or rivalry, but with recognition. Bronson, like Quinn, had grown up poor, working brutal jobs, carrying hunger in his bones. "We didn't need to talk about it," Quinn said. You could see it in his eyes. The silence. The discipline. The refusal to beg for approval. What bound them wasn't friendship, it was understanding. They had both survived a world that told them they didn't belong. They had both endured rejection without losing themselves. Anthony Quinn died in 2001, but death never truly closed the book on his life. His legacy didn't fade with the final credits of his films or the applause of award ceremonies. It lived on in something far quieter and far more powerful, the message his life whispered to anyone willing to listen. You are not defined by where you begin. Pain can become power. And resilience, when paired with courage, can turn even the hardest life into something meaningful. Anthony Quinn's story doesn't ask for sympathy. It offers something rarer: perspective. Born into poverty, raised amid instability, Quinn learned early that survival was not guaranteed. Nothing was handed to him, not comfort, not security, not approval. He grew up watching strength and fragility coexist in the same breath. That contradiction never left him. Instead, it became the fuel that powered his art, his relationships, and his relentless hunger for life. Success did not soften him. Fame did not cure his restlessness. If anything, it magnified the contradictions within him. In 1966, Quinn married Italian costume designer Yolanda Adalori. Together, they built a life that spanned continents: Europe and Hollywood, elegance and excess. They had 3 children and shared years filled with creativity, glamour, and ambition. From the outside, it looked like triumph. But life has a way of repeating lessons until they are fully understood. Quinn's long-term affair with Friedel Dunbar resulted in 2 more children and strained the marriage beyond repair. The relationship with Yolanda slowly fractured under the weight of betrayal, unresolved longing, and emotional distance. By 1997, their marriage ended in a bitter, public divorce, one that echoed the chaos Quinn had spent his entire life wrestling with. He was a man capable of deep devotion and sudden impulse, immense love and painful destruction. He carried tenderness and recklessness in equal measure. Later, Quinn married Catherine Benvin, a woman much younger than him, and became a father once again, twice more. Even in old age, he embraced fatherhood with surprising energy. Some questioned it. Others judged it. But Quinn never pretended to be simple or easily explained. He was still searching. Still creating. Still reaching. For years, journalists asked Quinn about his legendary peers, icons of an era built on grit and myth. Yet when Charles Bronson's name surfaced, Quinn often stayed silent. It wasn't indifference. It was recognition. And recognition can be complicated. Late in life, he finally spoke. They saw Charles as an unbreakable wall, Quinn said. That was just the armor. Underneath was a man who clawed his way up from nothing. Quinn saw himself in Bronson. Both came from poverty. Both understood hunger, not just for food, but for dignity. They learned early that survival came first, and trust came last. When critics dismissed Bronson as limited, Quinn rejected the idea outright. He didn't waste words, Quinn said. Every movement mattered. That takes discipline. That takes intelligence. To Quinn, Bronson's silence wasn't arrogance. It was protection. When you grow up with nothing, you learn not to reveal too much. You learn that strength must be guarded. They were different men, shaped by similar fires. Quinn thrived on chaos, conversation, and emotional exposure. Bronson preferred distance, control, and restraint. But Quinn believed that Bronson's refusal to soften himself preserved his authenticity in an industry eager to polish rough edges. To Quinn, Bronson symbolized more than violence or toughness on screen. He represented the working man who refuses to break, the man audiences believed because he carried real hardship in his bones. He wasn't perfect, Quinn admitted. None of us were. But his strength was honest, and that's rare. In his final years, Anthony Quinn slowly withdrew from Hollywood's noise and demands. He settled in Bristol, Rhode Island, overlooking the calm waters of Narragansett Bay. There, surrounded by silence instead of spotlights, he found something he had chased his entire life: peace. On June 3, 2001, Anthony Quinn died at the age of 86 from respiratory failure linked to lung cancer treatment. There were no grand finales. No dramatic exits. Just a quiet ending to a fierce life. He was buried not in a cemetery, but in his own backyard beneath a maple tree he loved. It was a fitting farewell. A man born from struggle. A life shaped by passion and contradiction. A legacy carved not from perfection, but from truth. And that truth remains. Your beginnings do not define your ending. Your scars can become your strength. And even the most chaotic life can leave something beautiful behind. This was just the beginning. Hit that subscribe button and buckle up. Digital Garage has so much more in store.